They walk up to him. Whatever they asked him, Z the Wizard stole off one of them. Next thing you know, they start fighting.
The shocking clip blowing up online shows rapper BigXThaPlug allegedly firing at his own affiliate, Zy the Wizard, during a chaotic scene inside a Dallas club on New Year's Day 2026. Witnesses claim it all went down fast. 1 second, the vibe was electric, and the next, chaos broke loose. Zy the Wizard, who had just been signed under Future's Free Band's label, was rushed to the hospital, fighting for his life after the Pink House Dallas turned into a war zone. Reports say 5 people were hit when shots tore through the crowd, leaving everyone stunned and scrambling for cover.
Dude that was with the suspect, he pulled out a blick, started shooting at the whole club.
Now, let's rewind to how it all went down that night. The Pink House Dallas had just opened its doors for the first time on New Year's Eve 2025, hyped up as the next big after-hours spot near Empire Central and North Stemmons Freeway. The event was meant to be a full-blown celebration, stacked with Dallas talent ready to show out, and headlining that night were none other than BigXThaPlug and Zy the Wizard. BigXThaPlug, real name Xavier Landem, had been grinding non-stop for the last 2 years, turning himself into one of the hardest names in Texas rap. His breakout hit Texas went gold, racking up over 330 million streams and putting him on the map for real.
Because if you won't use your celebrity to, take the revenue and the income and change your address and to help your grandmother and your mother and your children and so forth and so on, then what are you doing it for?
By the end of 2025, he was leveling up even more, crossing genres and linking with country stars like Luke Combs, Jelly Roll, and Bailey Zimmerman to drop a bold new album called I Hope You're Happy. That project blended Southern trap energy with a Nashville twist, showing the world he could move between scenes with ease. At that point, Xavier wasn't just a local name, he was the face of Dallas rap. Meanwhile, Z the Wizard, born Zach Curie Cannon Grant Fields, was just 25, repping hard for Oak Cliff, a tough South Dallas neighborhood known for shaping some of the city's rawest talent. In Oak Cliff, you had to stay sharp. Every move mattered. Z the Wizard knew that firsthand. His music grind started only after a tough sports injury crushed his shot at going pro, but instead of giving up, he flipped the pain into purpose. By late 2024, he was dropping heat like Hood Prophet and bangers such as Boss Nah, 4 for 4, and Chevy.
The Wiz one of the ones, you know what I'm saying? He didn't get to talk, my nigga Wiz one of the ones, one of the ones, versatile.
His sound wasn't just about flexing, it was about motivation, survival, and turning struggle into success. By the summer of 2025, the Dallas Observer had already put him on their list of the top 20 rappers to watch in DFW. And they weren't wrong. Just a few months later, in August 2025, Z leveled up again, officially signing to Future's Free Band's label. That move was major. It meant he was stepping out of the local scene and into the national spotlight. Plus, he was already getting co-signs from big names like G Herbo and Rod Wave, proving the streets were watching and the industry was taking notice. Mo3's manager, Rainwater, spoke highly of Z the Wizard, calling him incredibly talented with the potential to take over the whole streets. That kind of praise carried weight in Dallas.
I can't say that I was shocked, but I'm deeply saddened. Senseless killings of young people are never welcome. And people who are in the hip hop community, especially in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Both Z the Wizard and BigXThaPlug were tied to what locals call the New Dallas Movement, a rising wave of young artists with one bold mission: to bring unity to the scene instead of feeding into old beefs. This movement wasn't just talk, it had real names behind it. Artists like Zillionaire, Do Montana, 700, and Timothy Chung were all part of it, representing different hoods that used to clash heavy. Some of them had real history, old street tensions that could have easily sparked more drama, but this crew wanted to flip the script. The New Dallas Movement stood for something different, holding each other down instead of tearing each other apart. It was about building a new wave for the city, proving Dallas didn't have to stay divided forever. The New Dallas Movement wasn't just talk. These artists really backed each other up. They'd show out at each other's performances, share tracks, and move like one solid team. It was their way of changing the story after what happened to the OGs of Dallas rap, whose unity had been torn apart by old street beefs.
The conversation for the artist is find your why. Why are you rapping? Why are you making music? Is it just to be heard? Is it to make a better life?
Everyone remembered when Mo3 was tragically hit in 2020 and Yella Beezy ended up facing murder charges tied to that situation. That's when the whole Dallas scene split in half. The new generation didn't want that same cycle. They were trying to bring the city back together, showing that the next wave could make moves without more bloodshed. Fast forward to New Year's Eve 2025, and Z the Wizard was booked to perform at the grand opening of Pink House Dallas. According to people close to him, he tore down the stage right before midnight. The crowd was wild, and even his family was there to see him shine. Once his set wrapped, his family headed out, but Z the Wizard stayed behind to keep the party going with BigXThaPlug and the rest of the crew. And clips from earlier that night showed the two rappers having a blast, laughing, vibing, and hyping up the crowd like brothers celebrating a major win.
That's where your first fights happen. That's where your first haters come from. That's where you're gonna fail the most and succeed the most, but also at the same time, that's where you're gonna be overly hated.
The energy inside that club was pure celebration until everything flipped. Inside Pink House Dallas, the party was straight up wild. Z the Wizard was making it rain, tossing stacks in the air while the dancers went off. Meanwhile, BigXThaPlug had his own section on lock. Bottles popping, lights flashing, and the crowd going crazy. The whole scene looked like a movie. Money flying, music blasting, and everybody turning up like there was no tomorrow. But then, just after 3:45 a.m. on January 1st, 2026, the night took a dark turn. Out of nowhere, chaos broke loose in the parking lot. Dallas police got hit with multiple calls about shots being fired, and when they pulled up, the place was already cleared out. What they did find, though, told the whole story. Shells scattered everywhere, signs that someone had been letting off heavy fire. 5 people had been shot, and one of them was in critical condition. That was Z the Wizard. Family members later told WFAA that he'd been hit several times, fighting for his life after what was supposed to be a night of celebration. The same club that started the new year full of life had suddenly turned into a crime scene. Word started spreading fast. Z, the Wizard, had reportedly taken a shot to the head. He was rushed to the hospital, and doctors immediately listed him in critical condition, fighting to stay alive. Moments after the chaos, the clip that would soon take over the internet was recorded. Footage showing BigXThaPlug right outside the club, looking completely lost, trying to make sense of what just went down with his day one homie. That video exploded online within hours. In the clip, BigXThaPlug is seen rocking an orange jacket, leaning against a car under that bright pink glow from the club lights. You can clearly hear him say the words that everyone would repeat nonstop online.
They walk up to him. Whatever they asked him, Z the Wizard stole off one of them. Next thing you know, they start fighting. Dude that was with the suspect, he pulled out a blick, started shooting at the whole club.
They shot Z in the head. That raw, emotional moment hit the internet like a shockwave. Even though BigXThaPlug didn't catch any bullets himself, the pain on his face told the whole story. The shock, the disbelief, it all poured out right there in real time. That one clip became the defining image of the whole tragedy, spreading across social media like wildfire. As people debated what really happened, rumors started flying, caps started spreading, and soon Z's family stepped up, ready to set the record straight. Just hours after the shooting, a whole new kind of chaos hit the internet. Social media went wild as people started posting that Z the Wizard had passed away, even though no official word had come from the police or the hospital yet. The rumor spread crazy fast, bouncing from post to post before anyone could confirm a single fact. By the morning of January 1st, 2026, timelines were packed with RIP posts, fan edits, and tribute clips flooding X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Folks were mourning like it was already over, not realizing that Z the Wizard was still fighting for his life in the hospital. It was pure digital confusion. The misinformation moved like wildfire, just like it always does. Somebody dropped one unverified claim, and the internet ran with it without checking anything. Before long, blog sites and hip-hop news pages were posting full stories built off tweets and speculation instead of real facts. What started as a tragedy quickly turned into a storm of rumors, leaving fans, friends, and the city wondering what was true and what wasn't. The flood of false reports caused serious pain for Z the Wizard's family, who were already going through the worst moment of their lives, sitting by his side while he was on life support. Instead of getting peace, they had to fight lies online while praying for a miracle in real life. One of Z's day one brothers, Montana 700, who was also part of the New Dallas movement, was among the first to shut the rumors down. He jumped on his Instagram story showing love to everyone sending prayers but making sure to clear things up once and for all. His message couldn't have been clearer. Z the Wizard ain't dead, he's on life support, fighting for his life. That update spread fast, but the damage was already done. So many people who had seen those first fake RIP posts never caught the correction later on. By January 3rd, 2026, WFAA officially confirmed that Z the Wizard was still alive, still in the hospital, and still battling to pull through. The truth finally came out, but by then, the internet had already twisted the story beyond recognition. Z the Wizard's family decided to go straight to reporters to set the record straight about his condition. They told the media they were staying hopeful and asked everyone for continued prayers and privacy while he fought for his life. But what was happening inside the hospital went way beyond medical updates. Things had gotten tense and complicated fast. Because of the chaos online and crowds showing up, Dallas PD had to post up extra security around the hospital. The place was packed. Fans, supporters, and curious onlookers were all trying to slide through, even though most had never met Z the Wizard in real life. The family said it got so hectic that even extended relatives couldn't get in to see him, as police kept tight control over who could enter, citing safety concerns while detectives continued their investigation. Despite all the stress, the family still showed gratitude toward Dallas police, thanking them for helping keep things under control and protecting their loved one while they held on to hope for his recovery. The family's gratitude wasn't just for police protection, it was also for helping the hospital staff do their jobs without all the chaos from outside. Even Hemo Chung, another new Dallas artist and close friend of Z the Wizard, took to Instagram to tell people to chill out and stop crowding the hospital. His post carried the same message that everyone in Z's circle had been repeating. Let the doctors work, let the family breathe, and stop spreading what you ain't verified. That plea said it all. The constant stream of rumors, unverified updates, and emotional posts had turned an already tragic situation into pure confusion. The whole mess showed just how crazy social media gets when shootings happen. People rush to post before they know the truth, reactions move faster than real info, and clicks start replacing facts. The same apps that once boosted Z the Wizard's music and helped him rise up in Dallas were now the same platforms spreading false news about him being gone, and his team had to fight hard just to keep the truth out there. Before Z the Wizard's family could even process what happened, the internet had already flipped the whole story upside down. Sadly, this wasn't anything new. It had gone down like this before with other rappers, other shootings, and other tragedies that blew up online before the facts even came out. But the speed of how Z the Wizard's situation spread was next level. 1 second, he was a rising Dallas rapper, and the next, social media was declaring him gone. It showed how fast the internet locks into a narrative once it starts running wild. People all over started calling out the dark irony in what was happening, how thousands were only now discovering Z the Wizard's music because of the shooting. His streams reportedly spiked overnight after January 1st, with his name trending and his songs landing on playlists across major platforms. But all that new fame came with heartbreak, because while the numbers were going up, his family and friends were breaking down, sitting in a hospital praying for a miracle. The spotlight that should have been a celebration of his talent had turned into a reminder of just how cruel timing can be. Z the Wizard's family was fighting two battles at once, one in the hospital and one online. They were living through a real medical crisis while also trying to control a public story that kept spinning out of their hands. Every hour brought new posts, new claims, and new rumors, forcing them to keep jumping back online just to remind the world that Z was still alive. By the days following the shooting, hospital access was locked down tight. Only immediate family was allowed in his room. The same rapper who had been on stage just hours earlier, throwing cash in the air and performing in front of his loved ones, was now surrounded only by his closest circle, hooked up to machines and fighting for every breath. Meanwhile, thousands of strangers who'd never even met him were online arguing over whether he was dead or alive, turning his recovery into internet drama. The confusion around his condition stretched on for days, but through it all, the family's message stayed clear and strong. Z the Wizard is fighting. He's not gone yet. They begged for people to respect that truth, even as social media seemed determined to bury him too soon. As for what really went down inside and outside Pink House Dallas in those early morning hours of January 1st, 2026, things stayed murky. The full story was still tangled in mystery, whispers, theories, and shaky footage, but no one truly knew what set the whole night off. Dallas police stayed tight-lipped after the chaos, keeping all the key details close to the vest. Most of what hit the internet came from eyewitness accounts that couldn't be fully verified, just people sharing what they thought they saw in the madness. But here's what the authorities actually confirmed, what witnesses claimed, and where the story still had major gaps according to official reports. Cops rolled up to the Pink House Dallas around 3:45 a.m. on January 1st, 2026, after getting multiple calls about gunfire. By the time they arrived, the whole scene was already cleared out, meaning the shooting had gone down and wrapped before they even hit the parking lot. According to police, 5 people were shot and 1 was in critical condition. That person turned out to be Zai the Wizard. Officials said the gunfire broke out after an altercation, but they didn't share what the argument was about, who was beefing, or what exactly triggered someone to start shooting. So far, no suspects had been named, and police hadn't confirmed if any of the victims were specifically targeted or just caught in the crossfire. Even the motive stayed a mystery. Meanwhile, eyewitness stories were all over social media. Twitter threads, TikTok lives, and YouTube recaps trying to piece it all together. Some clips painted it like a wild club brawl. Others claimed it was something way deeper. But with no solid evidence or confirmation, it was all speculation. The streets were talking, but the truth was still hiding in the shadows. According to the stories flying around online, it all started when some ops, or a group of them, rolled up on Z the Wizard inside the club. Words were exchanged, tempers flared, and before anyone could cool things down, hands started flying. Then, in the middle of the chaos, somebody pulled out a pole and started blasting, and that's when everything went off the rails. But here's the thing, none of the accounts lined up perfectly. Some people swore Z the Wizard threw the first punch, while others insisted he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time when the straps came out. So then one version of the story claimed the shooters went back to their car, grabbed 2 handguns and a pair of ARs, then spun back and let loose on the crowd as people scattered in every direction. Another rumor said someone from Z's own crew might have started busting back and that the headshot could have even been a tragic case of friendly fire. But plenty of folks pushed back on that idea, pointing out that Z got hit multiple times, way more than what one stray shot would explain. The truth was still tangled up in stories and speculation, leaving everyone wondering what really sparked that deadly exchange. Pretty soon, the venue itself, Pink House Dallas, became a major part of the conversation. The wildest part? The club was so new that New Year's Eve 2025 was literally its grand opening night. The timing couldn't have been worse. A business meant to kick off the new year with good vibes instead ended its debut night with shell casings, sirens, and police tape wrapped around the parking lot. People online instantly started raising questions about security. How did guns even get inside the building or stay so close by in the parking lot? Who was in charge of pat-downs at the door? And what safety plans did they have once things started heating up? The lack of answers only made the controversy louder. Then to make things worse, the Pink House's Instagram fanned the flames even more. The club posted about how much money their dancers made that night, bragging about the bag while one of the night's performers, Z the Wizard, was fighting for his life in the hospital. That move instantly set social media on fire. People called it mad disrespectful, saying the club was celebrating cash while a tragedy was still unfolding. The backlash had the venue's name trending for all the wrong reasons. When it came to BigXThaPlug, multiple witnesses confirmed he was definitely inside the club when the shots rang out. One detailed account claimed that as soon as bullets started flying, Big X ducked behind the bar, taking cover while chaos erupted all around. The bartender reportedly told him to stay low and not move, and he did exactly that until someone finally yelled that it was clear to come out. Once the smoke settled, rumors started flying in every direction. Some people online began speculating that BigXThaPlug might have been the real target that night. His name carried way more weight than Z the Wizard's, and in the streets, that kind of attention can make somebody a mark. The theory went that if someone wanted to send a message, going after the biggest name in the room would have made sense. But that's all it was, speculation. There's been no evidence to confirm that either rapper was intentionally targeted, and Dallas PD has kept quiet on that angle. Until more details come out, the question of who those bullets were really meant for is still wide open. From the evidence available, it looked like pure chaos unfolded in just seconds. Multiple people got hit before the shooters even made their getaway, all while police were still on their way. And the most seriously injured person in that mess was a 25-year-old rapper, Z the Wizard, who just hours earlier had been celebrating the start of what was supposed to be his biggest year yet. And the tragedy at Pink House Dallas didn't come out of nowhere. It happened in a city where the rap scene's brilliance and its dark history have been tangled for years. Dallas has long been home to some of the realest talent in the South, but it's also been haunted by violence that keeps cutting promising artists down before they reach their peak. Take Mo 3, for example. One of Dallas's heaviest hitters, known for anthems like Outside and his collab project with Boozy Badazz. His death in November 2020 shook the whole city to its core. Mo 3 was shot on the highway in broad daylight, a moment so shocking it grabbed national attention and became one of the most talked about losses in modern Southern rap. Then there's Yella Beezy, another Dallas star, who ended up getting tied to that same case, adding even more heat to an already tense scene. The streets of Dallas keep producing stars, but time and time again, those same streets end up taking them too soon. By 2025, Yella Beezy was officially facing murder charges tied to Mo3's death, a shocking twist that tore apart what had once been a strong bond between two of Dallas's biggest names. The tension between their circles didn't just stay personal, it split the entire Dallas rap scene in half, forcing artists, fans, and neighborhoods to pick sides. The unity that once pushed the city forward was now buried under beef and betrayal. That's exactly why the New Dallas movement was born. As a direct response to all that chaos, a new generation of artists looked at what happened between Mo3 and Yella Beezy and decided they weren't going to repeat that cycle. These young rappers wanted to move smarter, work together, and prove that Dallas talent could rise up without the bloodshed and drama that kept holding the city back. Z the Wizard quickly became one of the faces of that new wave, alongside names like Zillionaire Doe, Montana 700, and others repping hard for their hoods. They came from all over: Fort Deuce, Woodtown, Pleasant Grove, spots that had long histories of tension and beef. But under the New Dallas banner, they made a pact with a clear code: leave that old static in the past. It wasn't just music. It was a message that Dallas could finally unite, build together, and stop letting the streets write the ending for every rising star. Not everyone was convinced that the New Dallas movement could really change things. Critics pointed out that Dallas had a long history of division, deep hood pride, and street rivalries that too often turned deadly. Some doubted that a few young rappers could undo decades of tension that had already stained the city's music scene with loss after loss. Online, people started comparing Dallas to other cities like Houston, Atlanta, and the Bay, where artists from different neighborhoods had learned how to coexist, collaborate, and win together without tearing each other down. But when it came to Dallas, many said it just wasn't built that way. Too many old grudges, too many fallen soldiers, and too many egos standing in the way of unity. After the Pink House shooting, music executive Torrance Burnett spoke with WFAA, sharing a powerful perspective on what this kind of violence means for Dallas artists trying to make it out. He dropped a question that's been haunting hip-hop for decades: why do we expect rappers to really live out everything they rap about? Burnett compared it perfectly. Actors play drug dealers, cops, or doctors, and nobody expects them to actually live that life. But in hip-hop, he said, the pressure to keep it real runs deep. So deep that artists feel they have to stay tied to the streets just to prove their authenticity. And in cities like Dallas, that mindset can be deadly, because staying real too often means staying close to danger. By all accounts, Z the Wizard wasn't moving reckless or chasing trouble. He wasn't on that crash dummy energy people love to hype. His music stayed focused on the grind, the hustle, and building something bigger than the streets that raised him. Outside the booth, he was giving back, coaching kids, mentoring young heads, and trying to show his neighborhood that you could make it out without losing yourself in the process. Everyone who knew him described him as a real one, not because he was sliding on ops, but because he earned his stripes through talent and hard work. But the truth is, the streets don't care about your intentions, and the club sure doesn't check your discography before deciding who's a target. Sometimes just being in the wrong place at the wrong time can flip your whole life upside down, your career, your freedom, even your future. After the shooting, a lot of commentators said the same thing. The smartest move any rising artist can make is getting out of their hometown once they start blowing up. The logic hit hard. In your city, people know your story too well. They know where you came from, who you used to roll with, and what your block represented. Even if you've leveled up and left that old life behind, not everyone else has moved on. That familiarity can turn to jealousy quick, and success can breed hate faster than anything. In places where history runs deep and grudges never die, sometimes making it out isn't just about success, it's about survival. When you're in another city, you're just another rapper. You move smart, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your surroundings because you don't really know anyone. But when you're back in your own city, that comfort can turn dangerous. Being too relaxed can lead to slipping, and in the streets, slipping can turn into fading fast. After the chaos at Pink House Dallas, the focus quickly shifted. People stopped asking what exactly happened and started asking what it meant. For Zai, the Wizard's recovery, for the New Dallas movement, for BigXThaPlug, and even for the culture of Dallas hip-hop nightlife as a whole. At that point, Z the Wizard was still on life support and his family stayed firm in their message. He was fighting, they were hopeful, and they were asking everyone to keep praying and respecting their privacy. The hospital remained on lockdown, with Dallas PD still controlling the crowd outside, keeping random fans and outsiders from trying to rush in. Even extended family who came to check on him had to be turned away under those strict safety rules. Meanwhile, BigXThaPlug, who had witnessed his close friend get hit on what was supposed to be a night of celebration, stayed quiet publicly. He hadn't given interviews or dropped any official statement, just silence, grief, and disbelief. Still, that one viral clip of his reaction, him standing outside the club in shock, realizing his day one might not make it, continued to dominate social media. The clip's emotion, confusion, and heartbreak made it the defining image of the entire situation. And while the internet kept spinning theories, Dallas police hadn't announced any arrests or named any suspects in the immediate aftermath, leaving everyone stuck with more questions than answers. The Dallas police kept their statements short. They said the shooting came from an altercation, but never dropped any clear details. Who was beefing, what sparked it, or whether anyone would face charges, all of that stayed a mystery. For the New Dallas movement, though, this was more than just another club incident. It was a major test of everything they'd been standing for. The whole mission behind their movement was simple: prove that the new generation could move different, that they could unite, support each other, and stay out of the same destructive cycles that tore apart the OGs before them. But with Z the Wizard getting hit, no matter what caused it, people started asking the tough questions. Can peace really survive in a scene that's been fighting itself for decades? If the shooting was just a random club fight, something that had nothing to do with Z's music or who he ran with, then it showed that violence doesn't need a reason. It can find anyone, anywhere, even when you're just trying to celebrate. But if it wasn't random, if it was tied to his come-up, his affiliations, or some hidden beef, then it painted a darker picture, that even rappers trying to stay positive and move right can't fully escape the pull of the streets once the spotlight hits. The hip-hop community reacted in the same way it always does after tragedy, pouring out prayers and tributes, calling for peace, questioning venue security, and reflecting on the risks that come with fame in this life. The story of Z the Wizard wasn't just another headline, it was a wake-up call, forcing everyone to face how close the line between success and survival really is. Torrance Burnett's words hit deep and summed up exactly what many in the industry were thinking. If you're chasing this rap dream, you better have a plan that includes surviving it. He explained that success isn't just about getting famous or stacking money. It's also about getting away from the same environments that could get you hurt or worse. Too many artists rise up but never truly leave the danger behind, and that mistake keeps costing lives. Z the Wizard was right on the edge of breaking through for real. He had the major label deal, the industry cosigns, and the momentum to take his movement far beyond Dallas. Touring nationally, stacking serious money, changing his family's future, all of that was right in reach. But the shooting cut that rise short in the most tragic way possible, stopping what could have been a huge chapter in his career before it ever had a chance to unfold. The situation also put new attention on BigXThaPlug, especially his past run-ins with the law. In 2025, he'd been arrested twice, once in February and again in August, for weed possession and having a strap on him. Neither case involved violence, but they still highlighted the constant legal pressure rappers face in Texas. For artists like Big X, even when the music's winning, the system and the streets never stop watching. And one bad moment can flip everything in an instant. In Texas, the laws stay strict. Weed's still illegal, and if you're caught with a gun while holding, that's a straight-up felony. So when BigXThaPlug showed up at Pink House Dallas that night and walked away unharmed but visibly shaken, it added another wild chapter to his already complicated story. His entire career was built on keeping it real about the street life, but now he'd seen that same life almost take someone he loved right in front of him. As New Year's Day 2026 faded into the rest of January, the shock started wearing off and bigger questions took over. Was Z the Wizard going to pull through? Would the shooters ever be identified and arrested? Could the New Dallas movement survive this, or was it about to crumble just like every scene before it that tried to rise above the violence? There weren't any easy answers. There never are when tragedy hits this close. All that remained in the public's mind was that haunting footage. BigXThaPlug standing outside the club in the early morning light, realizing his brother had been shot, his voice raw and broken, saying the words that would echo across every platform. They shot Z in the head. That moment became more than just a viral clip. It was a snapshot of grief, disbelief, and heartbreak that the world couldn't look away from. For Dallas, it was another painful reminder that no matter how much talent or potential the city holds, the streets still have the power to turn dreams into nightmares in seconds. That clip, more than any recap, headline, or social media breakdown, captured the brutal truth of the moment. What started as a celebration ended in gunfire, and a rising artist who had everything going for him was suddenly fighting for his life. The footage didn't just tell the story, it became the story. It spread fast, got reposted everywhere, and like always, the internet kept consuming it until the next tragedy took its place. But for the people living through it, this wasn't content. It was real life. For Z the Wizard, lying in that hospital bed, For his family, praying through sleepless nights. For BigXThaPlug, still replaying the moment his brother in music got hit right in front of him. That viral moment carried real pain, not views or likes. If you made it this far, show love and hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more deep dives like this. Every view helps keep stories like this alive, because behind every viral clip, there's a real story. And behind every name trending online, there's a real person trying to survive it. See you in the next one.